Billions of years ago, the Earth was a barren rock, a young planet endowed with the potential, given the right activator, to produce life. Light from the sun bombarded Earth. An atmosphere formed. Rain fell, and the ingredients of life began to brew in storm-tossed seas. Life took roots. Vegetation grew lush. Fantastic creatures began their reign. With each new cycle of life, soils became richer and more nutritious. The environment was abundant, the land pristine, the water pure. And only then was Earth ready to receive modern man. Strong, intelligent, determined, man would live here in harmony for thousands of years. That, however, would quickly change. In less than 2 centuries, as his population exploded unchecked, man would create an industrial and technological revolution that would squander Earth's resources and savagely pollute the once pristine environment, contaminating the very air he breathes, the water he drinks, and the soil that grows his bread, creating a toxic, harsh environment that man was not destined to live in.
The environment has never been totally safe, but the major environmental risk that has developed in the last 50 years is the profusion of chemicals, petrochemicals in particular, that are very toxic and are now ubiquitous in our environment.
There are 6.5 million synthetic compounds that didn't exist before the chemical revolution, many which our body can't identify or cope with. The number of new compounds is growing by over 1 million each year.
There is a tremendous amount of man-made chemicals that are dumped into our environment. A lot of them are made for very specific purposes. However, we don't know the real outcome of them in terms of how our body reacts to them.
These are new chemicals that man hasn't faced before, and many of these chemicals will be causing damage at the cellular level.
Between 1960 and the year 2000, Earth's population doubled. There are now 4 times the number of people living than at the beginning of the last century. The environmental consequences of this explosion are staggering.
We are faced with a public health crisis. We're a sick society. We're getting sicker and sicker and sicker every day because of the reckless policies of global industries, petrochemical industries, whose influence with governments and regulatory agencies are so great that the information of the risks of their products is not being communicated to the public, hasn't been communicated to the public, and will not be.
The EPA has reported that 90% of the world's fresh water is contaminated by pollutants from farms, industry, and sewage. The water of river systems, such as the Mississippi, has been reused, treated, and pumped into the supply a number of times before the last downstream user withdraws it. How do we measure the cost of this contamination? One way is cancer.
I think it's important to recognize the fact that 1 in every 2 men get cancer in their lifetimes, and 1 in every 3 women get cancer in their lifetimes, and that we are facing a major and unparalleled cancer epidemic. These figures represent a major escalation in the incidence of cancer over the last 4 decades, and at the rate in which we're going, I can reasonably estimate that while we're having 1 in 2 men getting cancer now in their lifetimes, it'll become an almost universal problem in which 1 in every man will get cancer in their lifetime.
80 to 90% of all cancers can be traced to environmental factors: cigarette smoking, dietary relationship, pollution in our environment.
The environment produces free radicals, and free radicals are these unstable molecules that have an extra electron, and they go rampantly through the body. And if we don't have enough antioxidants in our body, these free radicals actually cause all kinds of cellular damage.
Between 1974 and 1994, incidence of malignant brain tumors in children rose 35%. Part of this increase is attributed to the 20 million American children under age 6 who are exposed daily to pesticides contaminating the food they most commonly consume. Some apples, in fact, are so toxic that just one bite can deliver an unsafe dose of organophosphate insecticides to a child under 5. Meanwhile, eating 3 hot dogs a week exposes children to enough nitrates to increase their risk of developing leukemia 9 times.
We are exposed, wildlife has been exposed. We know that it causes damage, and it is causing damage to humans.
The combined effect of that leads to, in general, degenerative diseases. This includes not only cancer, aging, inflammatory diseases, neurological degeneration, and heart disease.
The major damage to humans occurs to early pregnancies, 18 to 23 days old, still embryos. When their tissues are forming, if their mother was exposed to these compounds, it may not damage the mother, but it will surely damage the baby. And the damage does not show up till the baby has grown to be 25, 30, 35 years of age.
So the bombardment of all these chemicals, it's going to have a tremendous effect on degenerative diseases, and especially on your immune system.
If nothing is changed, if we continue on the road that we are on now, the decline in the ability of humans in the industrialized United States to have babies will continue to go down, and that it will cross the 0 line 2 generations from now, and therefore there will be no more babies after that.